we go again. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you joined me again, and hopefully, I can give you something that will be good for you that you can utilize in your everyday life. But analogies of a relationship. First part is what kind of relationship are we talking about? Is it a friendship? Is it a family member? There's various different degrees of relationships that we go through and that we interact with. And I just want to take a few moments to kind of go through everyday life for just something for your thinking caps, like we used to say when we were back in the day. Yeah, things like that. Um, I think a lot of times they would say, or people would say to you or me, well, are you in a successful relationship, or have you been in one, or whatever that may mean to them? Because I think a lot of times that question is asked to say, how are you to tell me? And I'm not telling you anything. I'm just simply imparting to you my experiences and why I think they're very important. That take what you want and utilize it, and the other stuff, you really know what to do with it. And so let's delve into that theme. So, relationships. How do we learn them? Where do they come from? The first relationship that you were ever in, do you remember what that was? I give you a moment to think about that, because more than likely the first relationship that you're going to be talking about in your mind is someone from the opposite sex. Someone that you had a relationship with, that you loved and cared about, guy, girl, whatever it may be. But that's not how you learned that relationship. You got that from the people that you correlated with who loved you. Parents, grandparents, and the things you saw them do, interact, communicate, and then you start to emulate those things. And then hopefully we say you grow and you don't do the same things that were bad, and you accentuate the things were good. But I think what we fail to realize is that we have this kind of core we evolve when we go through those things, that we look at people and circumstances and situations such as, if it didn't work out for whatever reason, then we think that it's not going to work out for this reason with this person, whatever the relationship may be. And I don't know if that's fair. I asked a question for some of my friends, women and men. What are the three things that, the opposite sex, that you really, if you were to ask someone, like if you were a woman, you were to ask a man, not any dog in the fight, no relationship other than friendship, really friendship. And what are the three things that men, women could do, or that they do, that you don't believe? Questions you may ask. And I would get two main questions, or two main responses. And that would be, why do they lie? Men especially. And why do they cheat? Men especially, coming from women. And think about that for a moment. Why do they lie and why do they cheat? My response to that was, and a lot of times was, do you lie? You right now, have you lied today, this morning, this afternoon? Have you? That's a rhetorical question, but it's something for you to answer before you start to someone else. Why don't we do that? Shame, guilt, embarrassment. Who looks for that? Not too many people. But when it's said to you, it's looked upon based on the previous relationships. It's guided by that. You can only hope that you would grow from the things that you've seen that you did not like, and promise that you would never be like. But do you find yourself being exactly like in a lot of ways? But why? It's because I think a lot of times we blame a lot of other people. The real true reason I think it is because we see a lot of those things in other people that we don't like, in ourselves, how else would you be able to recognize it? Truly recognize it. I think that's really the main reason why that happens a lot of times. And we'll die not having that real conversation with ourselves. Excuse me. And we don't want to have anybody to know that, because think about it. Really think about this next question. Who knows your deepest, darkest secret that no one knows? That if they did, you would feel like, wow, it would be so different. The shame and guilt of those things, previous and even to come, are the reasons why we don't share a lot of the things we think. And coupled with, how is it going to be perceived and used against me? Again, go back to, would you do that? It comes from somewhere. The thought comes from somewhere. And it's very important that we work through those things, because if you want to be the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 months ago, then you're going to do the same things and get the same result and feel the same way and blame everyone else instead of having a real conversation with yourself. You get on a plane, you fly places, you don't know if there's going to be turbulence. You still get on the plane and go, and you deal with it, and you make it there. Boats go in some really, really bad storms sometimes, and sometimes you have to put an anchor down. And when you put that anchor down, what happens? The boat generally settles and stops where it's at. Even if the winds are there, the boat will still be there. So what is your anchor? It's not another person. It's got to be you. It's only accentuated by another person. Everyone can love to have a great time when things are sunny and there's no waves. There's no turbulence. And that is not a real life. That is not real people. I think we forget that people are fallible. I think we forget people make mistakes. I think we forget that we have the capacity to forgive. And I think what happens a lot of times is we don't have a real conversation with ourselves, because we're always looking at what someone else did. And we never really truly ask the question, what did we do? The same fervency as you say, what they did. Like my cool hat. I'm so lucky. Why am I lucky? Woke up, have good friends, family that I love and care about, and just as importantly, I have those conversations with myself, which are necessary in growth. You have to have them. No one has to know about them, but you have to have them. How will they know? Because you'll change the way you think. You'll change the way you think. You want to know why men lie? The same reason you do. Whether it be by omission, whether it be by embarrassment, pick. But it happens. And who are you to judge that? It's not right either way. That's where communication comes in. But what kind of communication? Let's get there. The communication is, why would they feel like they have to in the first place? For real, why would they think they have to in the first place? Like your children. When they lie to you, you get angry sometimes. Why did they? Did they feel like they can come and talk to you and really tell you the raw, natural thought process that you had when you were their age? Could you tell yours? Did you tell yours? So now fast forward to 20, 30 years later. Do you tell yours? Would you tell yours? And why don't you? There is a reason. And instead of us finding the reason why, we want to find out, hey, what did you do and why you did it and why that's so bad? And I'm not saying it's not. A lot of us, you, interact with churches. You go to church, you pray, ask God to forgive you, all these other things. And you expect it. Why don't you give it? Well, why don't you give it? I'd like to know. Why don't you give it? Seriously. There's a reason you don't. You got to think about why you do what you do to get a different result on moving forward with whoever you do it with moving forward past that point. Relationships do not define you. You define you. You don't read one chapter of a book and know what the book is about. You don't read the preface. You don't skim through it and know what it's about. There's a reason those things are there. It's an experience. What is your experience going to be in life in your relationship with your friends? I thought about something that was kind of cool. And I think this will resonate with a lot of my audience. Have you ever been in a relationship, any kind of relationship? And if you have not noticed this before, I ask that you really try to check this out. Have you ever listened to someone that you're around that's cool with you, relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be, and you hear them talk on the phone to someone other than you, and the excitement, the hey, the radiation of energy that's dope. But when they talk to you, it's not the same. Why? Why do I get all this energy for that? And they don't interact with me on an everyday basis. They're not in my space on an everyday basis or consistently. But yet I interact with them differently than I did with someone that I don't talk to maybe once or twice a week. Why do we do that? We learn that behavior. I say it all the time to people that are close to me. You have no idea how you look when you walk up. You have no idea how you look when you walk away. And most of you have never, ever listened to yourself talk on the phone. The inflections, the energy, the happiness that's palpable. So when you're doing this outside of someone that you care about, what is their response? It's quite alarming if you're really paying attention to it. And you should. People matter. And those that don't matter to you, rethink that. Don't be that person. Everyone should matter. Doesn't mean you have to be with them or talk to them all the time, but they matter. Your words matter. Your inflection matters. But I think we get into a space where it doesn't really matter what they say, what they do. On to the next one. Immediate gratification is what they call it. And it's true. But why? Because it's learned. Doesn't mean you're worse, doesn't mean you're better. It's learned. Why can't you learn something different? No reason. Several of you have started a new job. Several of you have started a new relationship, new whatever, and knew nothing about it. How did you learn? I can tell you how you learn. You are incentivized. There's something that you gained from that you felt like you were gaining. And as soon as you feel like you're not gaining, slowly dissuades away. And we're better than that. I just think in my mind, while we're defined by who we vote for, while we're defined by a choice we've made, while we're defined by the worst of the worst that someone can say about you or think about you or know about you. Think of your friends right now. True facts. A friend or a family member. Name like 10 things that are amazing about them. Think in your mind, 10 things that are amazing. Da, 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 da. Maybe 5. Think of the things that pissed you off and why you're mad at them and why they're no good. You're rattling that off right now. Why? You wake up in the morning, you go to work. I got to do this. I got to work all this day. I got to go home. I got to do this. And then that becomes consistent every single day. And it spills over to your relationships. Because you see all the bad stuff. People on the road when you go to work, the people that you work with that you don't like, the people in your family that whatever. In your relationship, you're inundated with it. Because it's what you feed this. And what you feed this comes out of this. But what if you fed something different? Imagine that. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible to think about why you would imagine that. It's very important that you do. It's a thought process. It's how you think about yourself based on how you were raised, the people that you involve in your circle of relationships. They are important to you. That person in your relationship that nags all the time, that tells you how things are bad, all that. Sure, you want to hear some of the things and give them some insight. But if it's every day, or if it's most of the time, guess what happens to you? That's just information that you see all the time. Imagine people that watch the news every single day. Every single day. What newscast shows you nothing but positive things that happen in the world today? They may give you a 10-second. Hey, this is what happened. This is a feel good. But the news is not like that. And so we get all this information that's nothing but negative, nothing but sensational, nothing but to pit against, women against men, black against white, red against blue. You're defined by who you vote for again. You're defined by what you believe. You're defined by that. Who gives you the power to do that? I thought it said like, Bible judge not that you be not judged. You know, the thing is, it goes deeper than that. Not only what is a friend to you, associate to you, family member to you, the biggest question I think is this. It's a really, really intense question that just take some time to internalize. What are you to them? Really. Not what you think. Not what they tell you. But what are you really to them? Why do you get the feedback you get from them when you do? And the things that are not so good that you may not hear from them, but someone else. I always say, and I will continue to say, because this is a work in progress for myself, is the things that I get so upset and angry about and mad about, disconcerting, are the things that I see in myself that I'm readily available to identify as someone else. That's why I think I'm spot on. Yeah, I think I have the ability and I think I'm gifted in reading people. But I think a lot of it has to do with me seeing some of those things, flaws, inadequacies, in them that I see in myself. And I want to be better. And it frustrates me when I see that And everyone doesn't want to be. And I'm not in any way, form, or fashion close to being perfect. I am faulted. But I can see it just like you as a parent, you as a respective gender. You've experienced things in life that you can see it coming a mile away. Whether you have pets and you know what they're about to do, whether you have a child and you know what they're about to do. You think it gets old because you're older in life and you don't think we can see the same thing you're doing? Go talk to a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old. You can read them like a book. Whatever they say, whatever they're doing, like a book. You don't think we can do the same thing with adults if we're paying attention? By the way, men, a disclaimer, that's why we get in trouble a lot, because women pay attention, men don't. Trust me, a woman told me that. And it's real. But in relationships, we don't go to the part of just being emotional. Because the truth is, the people that are closest to you are the people that you're allowing to be in your space, intimate space. And I don't mean sexual, I mean intimate space of who you are as a person. Women, men, I'm telling you this, from my perspective, there is no more intimate thing that you can have with any human being than them to trust you and allow you in their space to where they can talk to you and interact with you on any level. Without blowback, without judgment. It's huge. Sometimes it makes all the difference in the world. Why don't we do that? I started with, it's a learned behavior. You saw your parents do it, you saw your uncles do it, you saw your aunts do it. Then you saw people around you that you cared about, that you thought they were cool and whatever. And then you emulate that. Grow up, people. People are fallible. They're going to disappoint you. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do all that stuff that you don't like and I can't believe and blah, blah, blah. What did you do? What did you say? What was your indifference? By the way, look that up, because that's a very powerful word that happens in probably 90-80% of relationships, especially the ones that fail. What was your indifference? Do you know what a woman wants? Do you know what a man wants? A man wants one thing. One word. Peace. That's all we want. Peace. Sounds simple, but it's not simple. I'm not a woman, but I've heard what you said. Some of you, which are different. The thing that women are most fearful of, cheating. He cheated on me. And your relationship is defined on that. Your entire relationship is defined on that. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. How many times have you been wronged in your life? How many times has your family member wronged you? A friend. And I don't mean something severe, but you think in your mind. Think of this in your mind, if you're really thinking about it. If you truly think that you, whoever you are, that whoever you're with, like, involved, whatever, that you are the only person that he's going to or she's going to love, you're full of shit. You're not being honest to yourself. Do you have one characteristic? Attitude? Thought process? You only have one of those? It comes down to a lot of things, I think, in my mind, in my experience. Expense of experience, huge. I think it comes down to, who are you to treat me as such? They did this to me. And I always say, what did you do? No, really. The same fervency, what did you do? It didn't just happen overnight. Every relationship that you've had, every relationship that you've been in, whether you've been the person or the other person, and I'm not talking about infidelity, people. Broaden your spectrums. That is the least of the matter, even though I know my experience as with speaking with women, that is the biggest thing, and it's just not to men. You've heard it thousands of times. I think when you know that you get in a relationship with people, there are things that come with that. And you really have to do the due diligence to say, if I'm going to fight for that, core, fight, core, believe, core, interact. Not what feels good. What is core? The part of you that no matter what's happening with you or around you, or what's being said and how everyone's reacting to it, stays sound. Is good to people. Wants to accentuate the best parts of them. No one is perfect. No one is faultless. But do you accentuate the positive that you see in people? Because in every bad relationship that you've had in your mind, there was something amazing about that person. Whether you admit it or not doesn't matter. Something amazing about that person, or you would have never interacted with them in the first place. How did you forget that? Speaking about myself as well. And it's not so much that you always forget about that. And maybe it was not workable. But did you do what you could during, before, and especially after? Because when things are bad and there's no honeymoon phase, it's the core that takes over. And that doesn't discount hurt. That doesn't discount fault, which is no such thing. It's a matter of opinion. Core is what you have to have. And people, if you don't see that core in people that you're around, wake your behind up. And don't be silent. And when you see the core, communicate that. I've seen this when things are not great. Sunny days. Everybody loves them. Can you stand the rain though? The thunderstorm. And yes, I took that from a BBD song, but that's okay. It's still good. Actually, it's Poison? No. No, it's not. No Addition. That's what it is. That's my ADD going off. But my point to you is this. If we're going to be better, if we're going to have better relationships with people that we interact with, we have to work on us. You'll go to work and people you don't like there, and you'll interact with them, and you'll smile, and you'll be cool with them because you're incentivized by getting paid. What's your incentive in a relationship? Hope it's not money. Hope it's not a lot of things that can pass, that are fleeting, that can change. Hope is core. If we are without mistakes, if we haven't done anything wrong in that relationship, if we have no fault at all, That's talking within yourself. Then you really could do that. But nobody can say that. What you'll say to yourself is, mine was not as bad as theirs. To who? To you? Excuse me again. To you? It wasn't bad to you? But if the roles were reversed and they said that to you, it would be an abomination. How can you not see how I feel? Do you ask yourself that question? Everything that I'm saying to you, ask yourself. You talk to your friends, your girlfriends, your homeboys, and you have real conversations about those things, but you don't even have them with the people that are there. Because you'll say, if I did, yeah, it's not going to happen. They're going to do this. Maybe so, but at least you had the conversation. If you don't, what are you expecting? What the hell are you expecting if you don't? So, stop blaming everyone for, I don't like my job, I don't like my cousin, I don't like my relationship, I don't like whatever. Do something about it. And what part do you play in that? Because you're part of the equation. It's not 100% whatever else that is. You're 50% of that equation. What part are you playing? It blows my mind how we are quick to look at something and like, wow, have the biggest judgment. But if they peeled your skin back and looked behind the scenes, man, it'd be tough out there, right? I don't understand. We all have that quality to do that, even if it's disagreeable. So, life is good. Life is good. Be consistent. You've been this long in life, and you've been through some shit. And you've been through some amazing times. In my life now, I think I don't have 60 years to live on this earth. I don't. So why am I going to waste another minute not impacting someone in the best possible way possible? I know that's like whatever it is in English. But why? I wake up in the morning, I can say, hey, I got this and this and this, and it's going to be horrible, and I got to deal with that. For what? You still got to deal with it. Or, life is amazing. I woke up. I have great friends. I have my family. I have my health. I'm able to do things. We lose sight of that. We lose sight of that. I want everyone to think of this before I let you go. Shame and secrecy go hand in hand. It takes a special person to break that and have someone to trust you to tell you those things and not judge them. It creates a better person. It creates a better person for both. It creates a line of communication that is on such a different level that it frees them up to be what they really want to be, but are so afraid to do so because they'll be judged. When you see a lot of people on Facebook tell you, I'm eating this, I'm going this place, I'm going that, I'm going this. They're telling you they want to be seen. Please pay attention. And if you're their friend, pay attention. Because they're yelling. The likes, the comments back and forth, they want to be seen. And that's not a bad thing. But if you have the capacity to tell them good things, feed them good things, That's what's going to come out of them. They'll make that ultimate choice. But the truth is, you play a part if you interact with anybody's life on any level. Relationships are just that. They are relationships. The ones you care about, you are going to nurture. The ones you don't, you won't. And you'll find several reasons why you don't want to nurture that relationship. Then don't be in it. Don't kill the person because you don't want to be there. Because that's your lasting legacy of how people will remember you. And if you say, I don't care, you're lying. Yeah, you're lying out your behind. We all care. We all care what people think. We are motivated by it. And if you surround yourself with the people that have the right motivation, it tends to end well with everyone involved. If you don't, you're going to be a bitter, older and older person that will go through life causing havoc and will never want to change because that's what you were taught. And you don't want to know any different. Go and eat and drink something that's not good for your body and see what happens. Feed your mind the same thing. I'm not saying this is rocket science. I'm saying it because these are things that I have seen and see in myself, and therefore I can tell you because it's the expense of experience. It's not hard to be good to people. It's not hard to say hello. It's not hard to smile. Just that. Regardless of what they think, what they'll do, how they feel, you're doing it because it's your core. It's your core. And when you see someone's core, pay attention. Life is too damn good to waste it on someone that doesn't see that life is good. No way. Expensive experience. So I tell all my friends and all my subscribers, hear me when I say this to you. There's thousands of emails, YouTube, TikToks that's talking about relationships and how you can get better and what you need to think about. We are not telling you anything that you don't already know. The difference is, what are you doing about it? A lot feel stuck. A lot feel, hey, financially I can't do this. Or whatever reason, psychologically, mentally, I love. Check that out too. You need to find out what love means. Love is just not all-encompassing. Love is with action as well. And then look at yourself first when it comes to love. What is love first? Not just what they told you love and what you learned what love was. What is love? Huge. That's another one. That's another. That's definitely another podcast that I got to do. You got to think about that. And when you do really think about that word that's thrown out that's supposed to be all-encompassing love, it takes care of everything. Well, I love you, so everything is clean. No, it goes deeper than that. What do you love? What do you love about that person? What is their love language? What makes them feel happy? What's their favorite color? When's their birthday? We take life for granted. We take relationships for granted. We take people for granted. And unless you experience something or lose someone, well, that becomes such a glaring area in life. You will do what you're fed from TV, internet, your phone, and friends that are toxic, that are telling you how to do what they've never been able to do. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to people Not that you're with, but the people they interact with. Because that's where they're getting their information. It's like going to someone that's never worked on a car and asking them, how do they change the carburetor? And they're telling you how to change it. Sounds ludicrous. Same thing happens in relationships. And the reason, before I let you go again, is because they're saying the things that make you feel good instead of saying the things that are being truthful about you and what you do and what they've seen, because they're afraid of losing your friendship or having an attitude from you, or then you turning around and saying the bad things that they've divulged to you. Basis. That's why a lot of people don't tell you or confront you, because they've let you know some of theirs. And what happens when people get mad at each other? Most of the time, all that comes out. Again, from experience. Be better. The only thing you can do, be better. Are you the same at your job, or are you better every day? If you're successful, you're better because you're incentivized. Be incentivized with human beings and being good to them every day. You're not going to always do that because you're human. You're not going to always tell the truth because you're human. And you're not going to love one person in this world. You're not going to talk to only one person in this world. Woman or man, relationship or not relationship. There are so many characteristics of your partner that no way you can fulfill, that they have to talk to other people. It is necessary in the growth of humanity, of them and their psyche. And you get the proceeds. You get all the proceeds from that. But we worry about one thing. What's being done against me that I feel is an affront? Get over yourself. Get over yourself. I love you all. Again, I'm so lucky. Life is good. And it will continue to be that way because that's my thought process. And I could give a damn if anybody thinks different. Because guess what? I'm me. And I think that's dope. So like and subscribe. We're a little bit longer than I intended to do. 43 minutes. But you get the gist of it. Be good to someone. Pay it forward. All day, every day. And until next time, my friends, I love you. Be good to people and be kind.